Hello, grade 11s. In this video, we're going to be talking about common factoring. So we just did a lesson on multiplying. Factoring is kind of the opposite of that. So when we are factoring, we are taking an expression that has been multiplied out and we're trying to find the multiplication question that gave us that expression. Right? So we're trying to figure out what was the multiplication question that gave me 40x squared plus 10x or 6x minus 18. What did I multiply in order to get that answer? So before we actually factor, we're going to just work on identifying the greatest common factor between some terms. So if we're trying to figure out what a multiplication question was that would give us this expression, we first need to see what we maybe could have multiplied by. And one of the very easy things to look for is a number. And to help us do that, we are going to use a multiplication grid, which makes this a lot easier. So I'm going to look first at 6x and 10. So I have 6x minus 10. I want to see, is there a number that divides into both 6 and 10? And I don't want it to just be a number. I want it to be the largest number that divides into 6 and 10. So my recommendation, and maybe some of you already know, is to look at a multiplication grid. And we are looking for a row that has both 6 and 10 in it. So if I look, I see in the first row that I have both 6 and 10. But I want to see if I can go a little bit bigger. So I'm going to keep working my way down. In the next row, I also have a 6 and a 10. The next row down has a 6 but no 10. The next row down does not have either. Next one, just 10. Next one has a 6 but no 10. And then I see a 10 again, and then I don't see 6 or 10 show up again. So the largest row that we found 6 and 10 in was 2, which tells me that 6 and 10 both divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the greatest common factor, so the largest number that would divide into both, is the number 2. So I'm just going to say that the greatest common factor, instead of saying greatest common factor, we usually write G, C, F. So my greatest common factor is 2. All right, let's take a look at the next one. So we're still just looking for the largest common factor. I have 12x squared minus 8x plus 20. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to look at my multiplication grid. We are looking for 12, 8, and 20, all in the same row. Okay. Well, I notice in my row for 1 that I have 12, I have 8, and I have 20. But I want to see if I can find anything further down. So for 2, I've got 12, I've got 8, and I've got 20, so they do divide by 2. If I go to 3, I've got 12, but I don't have 8 or 20. If I go to 4, I have 12, I have 8, and I have 20. So far the largest is 4. If I keep working my way down, 5 has the 20, but it doesn't have the 12 and the 8. 6 has the 12, but it doesn't have the 8 and the 20. 7 does not have any of them. 8 has 8, but it doesn't have the other numbers. 9 does not have the numbers. 10 has the 20, but it doesn't have any others. And you'll notice at this point, these numbers are bigger than 8, which is my smallest number that we're looking for. So if I'm looking for 12, 8, and 20, the smallest number was 8, right? I really don't want to go beyond 8 in my multiplication grid. So looking at this, I think the closest we got was 4. That had 8, 12, and 20. That was the largest. So I'm going to say the largest thing that divides into 8, 12, and 20 is 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. So my greatest common factor, or GCF, is 4. All right, we have one more. We have 50x squared plus 15x. So I'm going to look for a number that goes into both 50 and 15. So back to the multiplication grid I go. We're looking for a 50 and a 15. Now 50 is pretty big, so I know that 50 actually divides by 1, but my grid doesn't go far enough. So I'm really just going to look to see if I can find one that has 50 and 15. I see 15 under the 3, but I don't have a 50. I have a 51. It's not quite there. If I keep working my way down, 50 and 15 show up in the row for 5. And then I see 50 under the 10, but I don't see 15. And then under 15, I have 15, but I don't have 50. So I think the best I can do is 5. Let me slide this over here. So I have 50 and 15 both show up in the row for 5, meaning 15 divides by 5, it goes in 3 times, and 50 divides by 5, it goes in 10 times. So its greatest common factor is 5. Now, there is something about this last one that's a little different from the other two. So in the first one, the first term, 6x, had an x, but the number did not. So they didn't both have an x. If I took a look at the middle one, I had x squared, x, and then just a number. So these two both had an x, but this one did not. This last one, however, I see that they both have x's. So because they both have x's, not only will they divide by 5, they will also divide by x. So the greatest common factor for this one isn't just 5, it's 5x because they both have an x. Okay, I'm going to stop this video there, and then in our next video, we will take a look at the next 3 examples where we will actually factor.